afternoon.
Happy New Year, everyone. Good to see everyone.
Whole 6 days off. Have you had a chance to give everybody a little bit of time, space, quiet time, reflection, recovery? What have you done?
Yeah, main sort of driver in that was recovery more than anything else. Obviously, been on a fairly lengthy sort of cycle of games every 2 to 3 days. So yeah, give the guys a couple of days off and then get back into it.
And has it helped getting anybody fit and available for the weekend?
No, unfortunately no. So I guess Destiny, obviously, with his hamstring, looks around sort of 6-week mark for him missing. We obviously would lose Bentancur, suspended. None of the injured ones are kind of back yet. We've had a bit of a illness bug running through the squad as well, so a few are missing a training, but that's all right. We'll be right.
Will the illness sort of strike the numbers for tomorrow, or are you going to lose any more because of the illness tomorrow?
Not sure yet. We'll see. Yeah.
And in terms of the comeback of when the others might be available, is it still the schedule you've talked? There's no
I think
setbacks.
At this stage, Richie and Mikey more the two next sort of cabs off the rank. Hopefully next week at some point, and then sort of Ben, Mickey, Van der Ven, and Romero all kind of around the same time, sort of back end of January. They're all sort of slated to return.
Yeah, it is January. The window is now open. We are 3 days into it. No arrivals so far. Any imminent, and how kind of much are you pushing to get some bodies?
Yeah, it's not a matter of pushing, but I think the club's working hard to try and sort of get some help, and for the playing group, and it's no secret we need to sort of bolster up our numbers a little bit. So the club's working hard on that, and obviously January's not an easy month. We understand that it's not an easy time to sort of bring people in, particularly quickly, and at the same time we still want to make sure we do what we think's the best thing for us, rather than sort of just panic and sort of bring in people who aren't going to be a suitable fit.
Nothing imminent?
Not really sure. Could be imminent, could not be imminent. Not sure.
And in terms of obviously playing Newcastle, banging form, probably not who you want to play at the moment. But at home, you have been so good up until maybe the last few weeks. How do you go about sort of re-engaging that home form, but rebuilding that sort of fortress sense to what you're about? Because it's been difficult, hasn't it? 12 goals, I think, in your last 3 Premier League games that you conceded. Just to sort of that mindset change.
Yeah, I think there's context to all that, obviously, and I think everyone knows what the context is, but it is what it is. And Newcastle will be a good test, good side. We always have good games against them. I think they're always close. Both teams in all the games we've had against them have had their moments, they're in good form at the moment. They're in a good period, and it's a good challenge for us. But at the same time, I know sort of we obviously haven't had the results we want, but I still think our football at home has still been of a good quality, and we've certainly done enough in games to win them. So we've just got to go out there with the same mindset tomorrow.
And just finally, Thomas Tuchel has started, obviously, in the 1st of January, and he's decided he's coming to watch you guys. Can you use that at all with any of those sort of particularly English players that want to make an early mark, just to sort of get something extra out of them?
Maybe Thomas just wants to see a good game, mate. He's heard good things about us, so you never know. So hopefully we put on a show. I don't think that really factors into players' motivations, whether, I'm pretty sure even if Thomas wasn't there and the players played well, that he would find out about it. So like I said, hopefully he gets a nice seat and enjoys the spectacle.
Chris? And from that nice seat, what I guess big developments would he expect to see in Dom Solanke's game that might push him on now to be really threatening Harry Kane in the national team? Yeah,
look, I think Dom's been outstanding for us. He scored goals, but it's just his all-round game and his capacity to help the team in all aspects of our football. defensively, link-up play, still being a presence in the box, really intelligent with his movement, and really pretty much carrying that position on his back with no help, no rest. So I think, which says an enormous amount about his character and the kind of person he is. So I can't speak highly enough of him. The load he's had to carry for us in the last sort of 2 months without a lot of help, and from us being able to allow him to recover, and yet he still, every week, puts in a massive performance. I think I've got no doubt. I'm sure Thomas has been following him, but I've got no doubt he'll be impressed.
You mentioned January already, and you mentioned the difficulty with doing what's right for the club. How is the balance shifting between quick fixes to help you through this current situation and get you to the end of the season, maybe loans, compared to what the longer-term picture might have been in terms of targeting signings?
I think it's a combination of both, but whether it's a loan or it's a permanent, I think it's still got to fit into sort of what we're trying to create here from a footballing perspective and a cultural perspective. So it's not just about getting whatever's available quickly. I don't think that's the solution for us. So as I said, we've been really disciplined about our work so far, and we'll continue to be.
And one new face who has come through the door, of course, is young Min-hyeok. What is the realistic timeline with him? I know he's just been around the place getting used to England or whatever. Yeah. What is your plan, I guess, for him? No
real plan at the moment. Just let him settle. He's obviously still very, very young, coming from the other side of the world where, the level of competition is nowhere near what he's going to face here. We'll just give him time to adapt. Obviously, it helps that Sonny's here and kind of helps him around when he's at the club, and outside the club, we're just trying to get him settled, really. Just give him a chance to settle in. So no real plan. We'll just sort of take it as it goes with him and see how he settles in.
Ms. Hart, please. Hi, Ange. I just wanted to talk a bit about the injuries a bit more and sort of the context. I know a lot of them were muscle injuries and hamstring pretty prevalent as well. So I just wondered, how much has it been, the extra fixtures, the sort of Europa League and Carabao Cup run that's kind of impacted that, and how much has it been sort of the style of play mixed with those extra 33% of fixtures?
I think it's probably a combination of all of them, but at the same time, there's also an individual thing involved there as well. So, I think it's a combination of all those things. The amount of fixtures, the way we play. I guess the challenging bit for us is, quite a few of them have kind of been re-injuries, which, something we're kind of looking at. So yes, I think it's a combination of all those things. I don't think it's unique to us. I think you're seeing that across the board with a lot of clubs. It's just that we've kind of, been hit sort of more extreme, and then you add, Vicario and when his is not a sort of muscle injury, but it's a long term, and then it kind of exacerbates sort of the situation we're in.
And when you talk about the things you're looking at to try and change it, I know you don't ever want to change your style of play because it's something you truly believe in, and that's the philosophy of you and this club now. But would injuries be a factor that maybe would force you to change it? Would you look at that? Would you say maybe 10, 15%? Because we all know the running data here is top level as well.
Yeah. Look, there is always the opportunity for change, and the one constant with me is that I'm not going to in terms of my beliefs. But there's always a reason to change, and there's always the opportunity to change for everybody. So I guess it just comes down how much you believe in what you're doing and how much you believe what you're doing will bring success, and that's kind of where I sit with it.
You think if you carried a bigger squad, maybe it wouldn't have been as much of an issue from the beginning? Is that maybe some flaw in the way that it was set up?
Look, some of it, but some of it's just circumstance. Some of it's just, and I know we always want a head on a stick and we want somebody to blame, and there's always somebody at fault, but some of it's just life, mate. Football is like life, and how sometimes in life you get one thing go wrong and then you get another thing wrong, and you're doing nothing different. You just go, why is it always me at the moment? And you know what? But it's all temporary. You get through it. And for us, some of it we understand is a consequence of kind of, the situation we're in terms of, like I said, fixtures, the way we play. But some of it's just, just the way we lost Jed with a red card, and he was supposed to start over Destiny. Destiny starts, doesn't get the rest, and it's like that's just life. And sometimes no one's at blame, no one's at fault. It's just we're going through a bad trot, but it is temporary. We'll get through it. We'll analyse areas we can improve in, and move forward from there.
Jay, please.
Hi, Ange. Happy New Year. It's been over a month now since Vicario fractured his ankle. Just wanted to know how he's getting on with his progress.
Yeah, he's on schedule. He's kind of like it's obviously when it's a fracture, there's a kind of set schedule for him being in a boot, how much weight bearing he can do, and then sort of getting clearances along the way. So he's still sort of on the same sort of timelines of kind of end of February. I think was the initial prognosis. Nothing's really changed in the short term.
So is he still in a boot at the moment?
Not really sure, mate. I think he might be out of it at the moment. I think he's having a couple of days away from the club.
And then I just wanted to ask about Sergio Reguilon. There's only 6 months left on his contract. But is he a player that you're going to be needed to be require? Sorry, I phrased that wrong. Is he a player that's going to be needed to be played a lot more over the rest of the season with the current injury situation?
Well, he played last week, and it just depends on the situation. He's been available all year, so. But obviously at the moment we've got, it's no secret, we've got quite a lot of our defenders out, and obviously we lost Destiny now for a period of time. It's going to be a while, so Reggie, I'm sure will get more opportunities.
Ali, please. Hi, Ange. In an ideal world, and I know that's not what you're living in right now, do you need...
No one lives in an ideal world, Ali. Let me give you a tip. Even you, mate. I'm sure there's some cracks there somewhere, mate.
Definitely not me. Do you need it in an ideal world to be a busier transfer window than it was 12 months ago for you?
No, I just want it to be a positive one. That's the main thing. It's not about being busy. Like I said, it's about being positive. Because, the reality is, like I said, the situation we're in at the moment is temporary. We'll get players back and God willing, with a bit of luck, we'll keep them back and do the right things and we'll be strong from then on. So it's not just about, we just need to be a positive window. Where, like I said, that's where we've got to be disciplined to make sure the ones we bring in, if they do come in, they're going to fit in with our playing style, but also culturally and they're coming here for the right reasons. I still think that's important.
Although there is a clear plan, like you're saying, and you're not rushing into just signing anyone, is there also the other side that maybe selling clubs or loaning clubs can see Spurs coming and kind of sense a desperation even if it doesn't actually exist?
Yeah, well, that's the tricky bit about January. As I said, it's whether it's Spurs or anyone else. If anyone's looking sort of to supplement in January, usually it's because of some sort of need. Most clubs don't plan for sort of January reinforcements, so I think that's why January is always tricky, not just for us, for all clubs. But as I said, I think you can still hopefully find some common ground there where you can get the right kind of player to come in and sort of help the playing group at the moment, because they do need that support. But as I said, the clubs working as hard as they possibly can, mate. Trust me, they didn't have New Year's parties. They were out there working, trying to improve our situation, and they'll continue to do so. 2024
is obviously done. How do you, you're someone that constantly evolves and adapts, you said, over your career. How do you look back on 2024? Are you just happy to see the end of it because of everything, like the bad stuff that happened in it? Or
No, because then you kind of dismiss all the good stuff. I mean, 24 included us, which I know right now people don't recognise as anything, but we finished 5th last year. We finished 8th the year before. People keep forgetting that I didn't pick up a club that finished 3rd and we finished 5th. So even though, the back end of last year was a struggle for us, it was still, I thought, a real positive season on the back of what we had to do in terms of player turnover. We lost some significant players. And I enjoyed 24. It was a big challenge for us. Yes, it didn't finish well, but again, I think that's the case for every year. All of us have challenges within it, and I guess going into 25 now, it's about trying to make this year better than the last, but that should be the aim every year.
Finish with George, please.
Hi, Ange. Sort of understandably, the players were running empty, weren't they, towards the end of that Wolves game? I think it was 5 games in 14 days. How much can this kind of clear week, even though you've lost more players, make in terms of the energy levels going into this Newcastle game?
Yeah, look, I guess it helps, but it's not going to sort of totally, refuel the tank in terms of, where we want to be because we're still dealing with a small number of players. You know, it's not like, I think it's different if we had a sort of full squad, because then, you know, because again, we're going into a really busy period. January's massively busy for us and big games. You know, it's not going to be long before that kind of banks up again. So, but look, I think it was good for the players just to have a couple of days, as much mentally as anything else, to clear their heads and get away from the club. And I think, you know, spend some time with their families, and you know, from that perspective, I think it's been definitely beneficial. And look, they're a very, very resilient group. Like, they're just not willing to sort of lay down. They're fighting tooth and nail to make sure we turn this around, and it's a credit to them.
And I know ordinarily the next game is always the most important, but you've also got a big League Cup semi-final game next week. Does that kind of have to come into your mind selection-wise for tomorrow?
No, not really, because, you know, it's not like I've got massive selection issues at the moment. It's kind of whoever's fit. We get out there, and then we try and get out whoever's fit the next game. So big game for us tomorrow. From a league context, you know, we need to sort of start picking up points for sure, and winning these games. So all our focus is on that.
And just finally for me, I mean, Newcastle were 12th at the start of December, and obviously they're now 5th after 5 wins in a row. And I think last year, when you beat them, they kind of lost 6 out of 7, and they were 12th again and managed to finish strong. Are they kind of a good example to the squad that if you can get that sort of players back, you can get going?
And I think if you look at that time last year, I actually spoke about it at the press conference, they had a ridiculous amount of injuries. I actually specifically mentioned Newcastle when we played them, that they've got a ridiculous amount of injuries. It's no wonder that their form's suffering, but they'll get their players back. So, but that's a boring tale, mate. That doesn't mean that, you know, like I said, people are going to be outside with pitchforks and looking for heads. So let's not take that narrative.
But is that a good example that they had loads of injuries?
I think so. I think so, but it's a boring story, mate. I'm a boring person, so I don't think you're going to get much traction with that.